Nime Kename, friends of the media, ladies and gentlemen, we thank you for coming out at this short notice and hope that through you, our message will be heard by the Thomas Okan, styling himself as Nii Ayi Bonte. We represent the three royal houses of Gbese, which constitute by custom and tradition the body that provides manchemen or chiefs for the Gbese stew on the policy of rotation adopted by all. As Kingmakers, therefore, any person styling himself as a chief owes allegiance first to us, and secondly to the people of Gbese as such. As such, we are concerned with the dignity of the Gbese stew. We have called this press conference to address the recent pronouncements of Thomas Okan, who used a mandamus application to compel the Ghana Traditional Council to process his chieftaincy declaration forms through Greater Accra Regional House of Chiefs and ultimately to the National House of Chiefs, culminating in his name being put into the National Register of Chiefs at a time when there was a substantive Gbese Mantse in the person of Nii Okaidja III. The said Thomas Okan cleverly failed to notify Nii Okaidja III of the pendency of the said mandamus application, knowing that if he had noticed, he would have gone to the courts to prevent the said mandamus order being made. Previous to the said mandamus being made, another high court has refused to grant a similar application in favor of Thomas Okan because the Gbese stew was not vacant. Thomas Okan and his lawyer suppressed that information when they went before Mr. Justice E.K. Mensah to obtain the said mandamus order. Since then, the said Thomas Okan has been parading himself as Gbese Mantse. In that assumed capacity, he organized thugs to attack the gas stew house or Senshian, and in the process installed one George Taki Abia as the Gamanche under the stew name of Nii Adamalachet first. He again organized thugs, macho men, to take over the Ghana Traditional Council, where with the support of others has since been controlling the affairs of that esteemed council. Nii Okaidja II challenged the mandamus order of the court, as well as the insertion of Thomas Okan's name in the National Register of Chiefs, during which period the said Thomas Okan himself instituted action against Nii Okaidja III for a determination of who is the true Gbese Mantse. In spite of the pendency of the said action before the Judicial Committee of the Ghana Traditional Council, the said Thomas Okan continues to parade himself without the approval of the Kingmakers, and to our extreme discomfiture. The said Thomas Okan has become a member of the Ghana Traditional Council and has been engaging himself in active partisan politics by being a member of the National Democratic Congress and benefits from the backing of the NDC government to date. Thomas Okan and his political backers have held the Ghana state to ransom for far too long. He has been a disruptive force in our traditional affairs. He has disrespected and defied the laws of the land, and he has made unauthorized statements for or against the Gbese stew. His antics has retarded the development of the Ghana state and have created a laughing stock of all. Examples are in the past couple of years, during the Homo festivals, he had violated the regional minister's call for both parties to keep the peace by refraining from wild public celebrations and sprinkling of popoi along principal streets and traditional houses. On one occasion during the Homo Festival last year, 2015, his thugs sprayed bullets into the shrine of the Kolewulomo in an attempt on his life, but ended up in injuring one of the priestess, namely Obuluanza, in the process. The case was reported to the Jamestown District Police without any investigations, despite many attempts and follow-ups by the victim. During the Homeworld Festival in August this year, he masterminded the attempted murder of the Kodewurom, the principal caretaker of the Ghana, Gbese, and College Stool lands, when his thugs assaulted him in the end just to install an illegal Wulomo as a replacement. He has even used the name of the Ghana Gbese College Stools to extort monies from unsuspecting tenants on our stool lands. Ladies and gentlemen, as you know, the Dodua judgment dated 17th February 2003, which declared that Nii Ayi Bonte II was not properly installed Gbese Mantse, did not say that Thomas Okan was to be installed as the next Gbese Mantse. Yet he based his mandamus application on the said judgment, which judgment in any case was quashed by the Supreme Court, the Apex Court on the land, on the 14th January 2014. Against the constitutional restrictions on chiefs not to take part in active politics, Thomas Okan has openly flouted the said constitutional restriction by openly associating himself with the NDC government. Recently, Thomas Okan, at a public function, told the gathering in the presence of the president that he will step down should the NDC lose the 7th December 2016 general elections. A few days after the said statement became public, Thomas Okan started denying that he ever made those statements. Subsequent, however, video footage of him saying what has been attributed to him emerged on the Ghanaian media scene and also on social media, necessitating radio and television discretion. In spite of the fact that 1 week has elapsed since the making of those infamous remarks, 2 weeks has elapsed since the making of those infamous statements, the said Thomas Okan refused to heed calls for him to step down, made by the Gbese people as well as media commentators. As Kingmakers, we consider his statements as amounting to an invocation of a traditional oath and going contrary not only to the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana, but also against the Code of Royal Ethics for Chiefs, which is binding on all who parade themselves as chiefs. Though there is currently a suit pending before the Judicial Committee of the Ghana Traditional Council to determine between Thomas Okan and Nii Okaidja III as to who is the proper chief of Gbese, in light of Thomas Okan's name having been inserted in the National Register of Chiefs, who is by law prima facie regarded as chief of Gbese. It is therefore this paper recognition which has enabled him to continue styling himself as Gbese Mantse. But it is our view that once he has breached the Constitution as well as his traditional oath, the honorable thing for him, Thomas Okan, to do in the circumstances is to stop holding out himself as Gbese Mantse and to step down as vowed by him. We hereby, therefore, issue a 7-day ultimatum from today to do what he himself offered to do, or we shall advise ourselves. I want to make something clear so you guys can put everything into context here. Out of the 3 ruling houses, I want to identify them, then ask them questions in your presence. First is Nii Ayi Bonte II, the 4th, from Shiawulu, the first ruling house. I need to ask you whether Thomas Okan is associated with your house.
No, is no place. We don't know him. We have no lineage into the first ruling house. That is Gbese Jaase, where I come from. Thank you.
All right, I'll ask the same question with the second ruling house. Is that's the Tete and Kamawi, where the present chief Nii Okaidja comes from.
He has no lineage to our family and ours too. In fact, by the 1941 declaration, there are only 3 ruling houses in Gbese, which we've already pointed out to you. On this declaration, he says that he comes from Akwete Krobosaki, stroke, I don't know. So we don't know him in our family, and he's not related to our family needs that come out with. So we solemnly declare that he's not related to us. Nii Okaidja is a legitimate chief of Busi who has been installed, and he comes from the second ruling house, which by rotation is our third. Thank you.
Okay, if so, then let me ask Nii Akwete Krobosaki, perhaps he will know more than you.
Hello. I think he doesn't come from us. We don't know him. The Gbese 1941 agreement spelled this thing out clearly to all of us that we have only 3 ruling houses in this. But Shaku and Nii Akwete Krobosaki, not Akwete Krobosaki stroke. Accordingly, no. They are not known in our house. Please.
If he's not a chief, why do you even give him ultimatum to abdicate, or to even come to revert his traditional oath? Has he taken the traditional oath before the Kingmakers? If not, why? Thank you.
Another question.
I also wanted to find out, for how long have you noticed this? That he's not the king or the chief as he claims, and what took you so long to come out today to hold this press conference asking you to step down, since this thing has been happening since long time? Thank you.
Yes, we the Jaase of Gbese have never installed Thomas Okan as chief of Gbese. When the late Nii Ayi Bonte II passed on to glory, he took advantage of the case still pending at Regional House of Chief Dodowa and get a default judgment, which I took the challenge and set it aside up to the Supreme Court. His lawyer even went to review by 7-0. Yet still, he continued to parade himself as such. Beside that, our lawyer took the challenge by filing mandamus to withdraw his name from the chief registrar. That is his gazette. So that's the answer to the first question. The second question, you ask what takes us a long time before we are coming out. We are not sleeping on our duty as Jaase or Kingmakers of Gbese, but it's a court process. And as I said, now the court or the apex court of the land has given its final judgment, which we hold it here. So To your answer to this question, I would say we are not sleeping at all. We have done what needs to be done. Thank you.
My name is Joab Brown, and I'm with 3FM. 2 questions. I want to find out from you, the Kingmakers, what is the status of Nii Okaidja III as we speak now? Because going through the press statement, I get the impression Gbese does not have a chief, at least according to the press statement, until and unless the Judicial Committee rules in favor of either of them. So what is the status of Nii Okaidja III? And also there's a statement here that says that Mr. Tommy Okan used some dubious means to get his name onto the register. But still reading through the same text, you realize that you are saying that at the time he was doing that, there was a chief, Nii Okaidja III. So that's the real. I'm a little confused. I want to find out the status of Nii Okaidja as we speak now.
Another question.
Finally, with TV Africa, since it has been established that the Gbese Mantse, that's Nii Ayi Bonte, is on the side of one particular government, we would like to know, there's been this rumors that the outgoing government indeed facilitated his installment. Please, we want to know if the Jaase or the Kingmakers have confirmed this truth. Thank you.
Okay.
We hereby therefore issue him a 7-day ultimatum from today to do what he himself offered to do, or we shall advise ourselves. Advise ourselves. Inchemenye fine ke bi pawo share many credit jinoni nyabafi. Kagbenenye kakeshin he took advantage of the death of Nii Agbofun. Many credit jinoni yabahi won ni kechondo no enyeni ekebabon he chemo akeshin Gbese Mantse ni chebelenye ke akeshin mokoye sen no momoe.
Jaase shia ni amen kamena akeshi, when they see that there's no chief, that is the Gbese Mantse chief, it is within his powers to inform one of the ruling house, that is the 3 ruling house, who was supposed to be in the next place, for them to nominate, elect, and appoint Gbese Mantse. Then he will call the other subject, that is the Jaases within the Gbese, to do the vetting. After they have finished the vetting, then they will present them to the larger people to proceed with the installment process. Are you getting me? So if he, as Jaase, have not informed the 3 ruling houses to do the nomination, as Jaase to do the nomination, it means anything outside that which has been done, normally in law, is declared null and void.
The question about Tommy forcing himself to the stool is where I'm coming from. My name is Nii Okaidja from Nyambodiabowe. Somewhere 2002, 2003, we initiated the installment of Nii Okaidja. And when we did that, I am one Rojo Metenuno, my head of family. We were trying to bring the Jaase that we put there to the Brohuimi so that they can go hand in hand with Nii Okaidja. We know Nii Okaidja has been stolen already. Somewhere along the line, I traveled out of the country. Tommy was not part of the interview. It was only 4 gentlemen, which I was reliably informed, that only 4 gentlemen, but during the time of this, one father asked Tommy to go. And they forced Tommy to be there. So Tommy is not a son by S. Thank you.
To the specific question you asked, if we didn't saw him, how come by calling himself Gbese Mantse by his true name Nii Ayi Bonte. As our introduction goes, we have only 3 ruling houses in Gbese. The first ruling house was Penshiankuwe, also known as Shianulu. Shianulu means big house, which are represented as head of family. The second ruling house is Nii Okaidja, where Nii Okaidja came from. And the third ruling house was Nii Akote Krobo Sakiwe. If you may know, or you want to know, Nii Ayi come from Gbese Shianulu or Penshiankuwe, where I come from. And he's my cousin for that matter. So our chieftaincy position in Gbese is on rotational basis. So from the first ruling house, you have to move to second ruling house, where Nii Okaidja represents, and also where Nii Okaidja come from. So that's exactly what we did. But Thomas Okan was using the default judgment which he obtained after the death of Nii Ayi Bonte II. So we the Jaase have to put our heads together and then challenge that order. In our chieftaincy cases, when one dies, the court allow a substitution so that the case can go on. So by that substitution has been done with me to challenge that order. And as we speak, that order has been thrown out with the Supreme Court decision. So now the National House of Chiefs come in and say that, look, once your judgment has been thrown out, it means you have no basis to call yourself a chief. And because of that, they took advantage and delayed his name from Chief Registrar of Kumasi. With that issue, our lawyer take steps with mandamus motion to quash his name from the National Registrar. As we speak now, the case has gone to Justice Abada for 2 years. Anytime we go to the court, he adjourned. Anytime we go to the court, he adjourned. Then Thomas Okan continue parading himself as Gbese Mantse. So as we speak, we the 3 ruling house will provide the candidate for the Gbese II. We don't know him. We doesn't recognize him. He doesn't have any lineage of these 3 ruling houses. As our chairman of the Jaase says, we got nothing to do with Thomas Okan. The question you asked, yes, we have a constitutional mandate and traditional, as custom demands from Gbese or Okan State. Whenever a chief was installed and outdoor, the first oath he took from that day was oath to his Kingmakers. You abide by rules and regulations of our Gbese tradition, not your own. Not your own. And as such, we all abide by the Constitution of the Ghana. As the Constitution says that, look, the chiefs shouldn't involve themselves in politics. So as we know, one may ask, which Jaase advised him to come out with such statements? Because we have not installed him, he just go about his normal duty, do whatever he likes, talk the way he talks, misbehave, and because of the court process, and we all know, going to court in Ghana is not a one-day thing, it's not 1 year thing, it's not 2 years thing. If you read our Supreme Court judgment, one of the judges, Justice Doche, stated that, look, for the past 27 years, this issue is going on, and the courts are following the process until it finally gets to them. So if you may want to know, or you may ask, because of the long delay in our court process, it takes us so much time before we are getting to where we are now. Thank you.
From all that we know, Nii Okaidja was vetted by the Jaase and installed after the demise of the former chief, namely Nii Ayi Bonte II. Okay, he passed in 2003. Okay, and so he passed in 2002, and so there was a long lull. There was a vacancy for like 5 years or so, about 4 years or so. And so in 2006, after going through all the rigors of interviews and traditional rights and all the stuff required to install a chief, he was installed in 2006, I believe in October 2006, right? Yes. Yeah, okay. And then 2007, Thomas Okan was installed, not by the legitimate Jaase that are assembled here. We don't know which Jaase installed him. And so this has been going on through the legal processes and all that. But one thing I want to say is this. We like to go by the law, because in the past, when things weren't done right, and things in haste and in anger, it turned into situations that didn't help anybody at all. Reality is this. This reality. Thomas Okan is backed by some people in government who sees him above the law. Some few incidents have been, been stated in the press release. When things happen, we have to go through the law enforcement authorities for redress. Specific incidences that has happened, that there were some machinations behind the scene to, absolve him. We can count more than what is stated in the release. Therefore, this has kind of scuttled any efforts for us to do things the traditional way, because unfortunately we're in Accra, but most people in Accra don't understand Accra or Ghana traditions. We have a unique way of resolving our issues, but that is not known. So through the lack of understanding of our traditional processes, some of these things has, you know, been going on. But one thing that prevents us from taking any decisive action is because he has the backing of some, not all law enforcement, but some in the law enforcement community. So that's why some of these problems have been resolved. Question very well, but I want to show you there's no political leanings behind the decisions we're taking right now. But if you can carefully check out, go back, you know, in memory. Have you seen any article about this issue in the Daily Graphic or even the Ghanaian Times? Have you seen any articles dealing with this Gbese issue? There's a total blacklist, if I may say, from the Graphic or the Times. Okay? And why is that? We have held numerous, let's say, notices and stuff, especially coming from Nii Okaidja and some of us over here. But you don't. So we are limited in our scope of communication outlets. Okay, so there's nothing political about this, but it's just that we haven't had a press as large as what you have here today. Maybe based on the sensational nature of the situation we have right now. There are 3 ruling houses that select chiefs for the Gbese II, and they are second from your right, Nii Akaidja, the 4th, and then to his immediate left is Nii Okaidja, the 3rd.
Yes.
Yeah, the 3rd. Okay. Yeah, and then to his left is Nii Ayi Bonte II, the 2nd, I believe.
The 3rd.
Oh, the 3rd. Okay, stand corrected. And then to his immediate left is the Jaase chair. In other words, he is the chairman of the committee that selects the legitimate Gbese Mantse. So, and I myself, I'm the Shipi of Gbese.